Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Citadel Credit Union's Open for Business podcast. Here today with Greg Butler from Mainline Armory. Really pumped about the opportunity for you to learn a lot about this business and learn a lot about Greg's commitment to both our community and to veterans overall. Greg, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
All right. So it's probably been about 2 or 3 weeks since I had the opportunity to be out at your business. I had the official tour.
Yep.
Got an opportunity to get a feel for what is happening at Mainline Armory. And I don't know where to begin besides saying I'm just floored by both your business strategy, your business acumen, and your commitment to creating an experience, not a business.
Thank you.
It's been an amazing run to take an opportunity to get to know you and the business. Tell us a little bit about how you got started and how Mainline was born.
So I always tell people that I never planned on being a business owner. Okay. I was a state trooper at the time. I was about 5-6 years away from retiring. I was going to wear Tommy Bahama shirts and be a stay-at-home dad. Totally happy with that. And then 2020 hit. And at the time, my father was an FFL, Federal Firearms Licensee. And what that means is he was transferring firearms out of his basement. Whenever a gun crosses over state lines or changes from possession from one person to another, an FFL has to do that paperwork. He'd built up that business over 10 years. And what happened was once the lockdown hit and it was deemed that gun stores were an essential business, he went from, on a busy month, doing about 150 transfers to doing 450. Wow. Like that. And at the time he was trying to handle it himself, and he wound up reaching out to me and just saying, Greg, I can't do this without you. And every minute that I wasn't working on the job, I was over there doing his books. But I'd ask some of these people that didn't take a car, where are you going to go trained on this? And they said, well, I'm going to go watch some YouTube videos and then go to the range. And the one range that was in our county was closed to new members, or was closed to walk-ins. At that, he closed it purposely on walk-ins, but then he closed it for new members. So there was nowhere to shoot, at least in Delaware County and some of the neighboring counties as well. So people were going to the outdoor range. But I finally got to the idea, or the way to describe it was, and get through to these people, is you're not going to learn how to drive a car on YouTube, are you? And they'd look at me and I'd be like, well, you could watch videos on accelerator, braking, shifting, turning, but until you get in that car and you feel it, and your mind's distracted and there's multiple stimulus, you can't learn to drive without someone showing you, which is why we have a permit process. But with firearms, it's the same thing. Like, you can't just watch a video on guns and go shoot at the range. No. The first time that pop goes, it might not be what you're expecting, and it totally throws you off, and it's just, you need someone to teach you. So where I saw the opportunity was, this other range is closed down. I'm sorry, this other range is not allowing people in. There's rumors of this other one closing its doors because of a lease issue, and there was nothing else. So I went home to my wife, and she's a brilliant person. Like, in the military, brilliant. In her job, she's brilliant. I went to her and I said, we should open up a range. And I thought she was going to say the same thing I was thinking originally. 5 more years, you retire, Tommy Bahama shirts, help me out around the house. But she was like, yeah. I mean, she saw it. She saw how busy I was. We were doing 450 transfers for almost a year and a half straight. I mean, that's how insane the firearm industry. And if you think about it, I mean, there's some statistics, and I know you have Sarah over there. She might be able to look some of it up. But from what I remember, when I was starting my business plan, I think there was upwards of 11 million new gun owners, or 11 million guns transferred in that first year, and over half of them were new gun owners. So now you have millions of individuals who have guns because they think that's their whoopee to protect them, but they don't know how to use it. And
scary, right?
Yeah, I mean,
frightening.
It's look. Everybody always say a good guy with the gun's better than the bad guy with the gun. That's not always the case. Good guys may not know how to shoot or handle the gun, and they're just as dangerous, as for negligent discharges and accidental discharges.
I think we got a fact check coming in from Sarah. 25 million applicants the first year post-COVID?
Is it the first? 2020.
Wow,
yeah, so
25 million applicants in 2020.
Yeah, and
That's crazy.
I bet 21 was probably right around the same. But it's the thing is, it's everybody's going. I mean, now that's 21 million probably NICS checks, which are every time you buy
firearm,
one happens. But 21 million transactions of firearms. I mean,
it's interesting because you're in the firearms industry, but when I left Mainline Armory, I felt like it was more of an experience than a range.
Yes.
So that was done intentionally.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about both the experience and the ideation of it.
So when I went to my wife and said, let's start a range up, we knew that like we weren't going to do anything, halfway. We were going all in. So
you went all in.
Yeah. Well, even before it was, when I say all in, we got a consultant. We joined our trade association, the National Shooting Sports Foundation. They're the ones who do a SHOT Show every year. Yeah. But it's if you're just starting, like, get with the trade association. They're here to help you succeed. These Chamber of Commerce's, they're here to help you succeed. So find what trade you fall under and join it, because what we found was consultants. We found the people who built our range. We found accountants, everything you need to be successful in the firearm industry. Your trade association will help you. So we found a consultant and we built our pro forma. Katie built the business plan, but we refined it. But originally we were going to go into a building that was like 7 shooting lanes, a small classroom, and a small retail. That was our first building in Havertown, I remember. And that fell through. So then we found another one that fell through because it was hard finding a landlord that would let us build there, and then a township. And we finally found one where we landed, and we wound up having 21 lanes, 30,000 square feet. But it built, and as we were growing, we're like, oh, hey, maybe we'll add a members lounge now that we have room. Hey, if we're going to do a members lounge, it's going to be first class, and it's going to be another level to where not everybody can get in there. And then, oh, hey, maybe we'll do this. And we kept growing and growing. And I was going around the country too. I didn't invent the wheel. I took what I liked from other places and made sure I didn't do the same stuff I didn't like about others, like that one range that closed down. So we rolled it all together, and we constantly grew and grew and grew. But
so when you were growing, tough financial decisions, right? So what was the most difficult financial decision that you had to make, and what were the implications of it?
So the toughest was, are we bootstrapping this or are we taking investors? It was because it was a large SBA loan, and you needed to have that equity, 10%, I think it is. So we had to take some of our savings, some of our Katie's bonus money, and build up that, equity. So that was really tough because, I mean, you're tapping into your life savings, your retirement, in the hopes of this business being successful.
All in.
Yeah. I mean, it really is. It's scary. Like that first year, it's scary when you don't have the customers coming in like you think. And with us, it was real difficult because the algorithms don't like the firearm industry. So I can't use social media as much as other places. They won't put me, I can post stuff, but they won't put me in front of people unless it's organic, like you sharing a post to a friend who doesn't have me. And so I'm doing a lot of grassroots advertising, billboards, flyers, stuff like that. But as far as the financial, it definitely, it's a shock to your system when you think you're going to be able to take this big loan out and the bank's going to want something, you know, like people forget that. But like we had to put our house up, you know, as collateral, or at least put a lien, whatever, lien against it, whatever you call it.
UCC one filing.
Yeah.
Who's counting?
What's that?
Who's counting?
So, I mean, so it's scary because, I mean, at the time, this was in 22, you know, my son was 15, about to go to, you know, it's just a freshman and sophomore in high school. I have a young daughter. It's it's scary knowing, like, if this thing falls through, I'm going back to find a job, and we might be paying off, you know, our credit and all that. Like, we might be filing bankruptcy. So it's definitely scary just even entering into it once you start seeing it.
Even while firearms are at the root of what's available at Mainline Armory, you've got a plethora of other services that are available to your customer base and to anybody who becomes a member, right? Because you have members just like we have members,
right?
And you have members of your elite club, the Valley Forge Club, or room in the back. But talk to us and tell us a little bit about what are some of the services that Mainline Armory provides that's different than your average shooting range? Like, when I think of your average shooting range, it's a place that's kind of dingy. There's a sign out front. There's maybe a solar spotlight on it. You go inside, there's a glass counter that could have been in a hobby shop 10 years ago. Yeah. Maybe there's a couple of energy drinks in a fridge. Wood paneling all over. And then you go inside and there's a beat up old place. And that could not be further from the exact opposite of both the optics, but the experience at Mainline Armory. So tell us all a little bit about what you do beyond the firearms.
Right. So how long is this podcast?
I know. Yeah. Sarah's going to cut us off.
All right. So first and foremost, our training. That's what I'm passionate about, because there's all the statistics in the world that show the bad things that happen with guns. But there's no way to track, because obviously if something doesn't happen, how do you know someone handling a gun safely saved their life? Okay, so I do it for the unknown number of training responsible gun owners. If they don't have a negligent discharge, accidental, or shoot somebody by accident, that's a win, because nobody wants to shoot anybody with a firearm, any responsible gun owner. That's the last thing. So training, paramount. We have the Mainline Armory Training Academy. It's new families that the young professional family members that now they want to protect their family. They have a kid and they see what's going on in this world. People who are interested. So the training is really at their level. It's a crawl, walk, run. We talk about that in the military. You crawl, walk, and run into everything you learn. And we're more of the crawl, walk. We can get to run with my instructors, but we're laying a good foundation. And my passion is getting responsible gun owners in the community. And in turn, that's doing a service to the community. As far as like the amenities, when you come in, like my wife, I'm going to give a shout out. I mean, obviously my wife, but we had a designer, Kara, from Rushing Ranges. She's actually doing something with the Washington's Chapel in Valley Forge. She's a phenomenal designer, but we knew we needed a female designer. When I was going around the country, I would be like, hey, so because we knew we were going to focus on women. Hey, where's the ladies section? And they're like, oh, it's over there in the corner. And it's cheetah print with, you know, all different like animal print stuff that with dust on it that guys think that women want. No, we don't know what women want. You know, I mean, you've been married how long? Yeah, I was going to say.
She tells me all the time.
Coming up on 20 years. I mean, I still don't know. We knew that we had to make it comfortable to where even women want to come in and train. So, you know, like Katie's a marketer and she knows, like, she does things to study people's habits and stuff like that. And she knew we were going to double the budget for the women's bathroom for the men, because everyone gets judged on the women's, you know, bathroom. So we have flowers, mirrors. It's really nice and welcoming. But when you walk in, it's big ceilings, bright colors, wood, stone, nothing like it seems just like open and welcoming. And that was big. Like when you walk in, you want to feel that welcome feeling, because it's intimidating. Even for a guy who shoots all the time, if I go to another range, it's kind of intimidating. Do they let me bring my bag in? Do I have to wait to check in to bring it? Do I have to put the gun on this and do that? I mean, there's so many rules. So why add to that intimidation factor, especially if you're coming to shoot for the first time? So we even have something, the Lady Knox Boutique. Okay. And in the Lady Knox Boutique is all products focused on women, picked by my wife, my female instructors, and other industry people that push those, or stand behind those products. And it shows that we care and like we value female shooters, even though they are like 10% of the market, but the growing demographic for sure.
Sarah, how many female gun owners are there in the United States? And in PA, if you got it.
Yeah, that'd be a good number. And it's the percentages. Obviously, most people know that guys predominantly own guns. But here's where the industry's failing. And the industry is realizing that, they're not realizing, well, some are, they're catering to those guys still. And the market's already there. It's slow growing. But there's one company that focused on women. They came up with this gun with like pink highlights and stuff like that. I don't want to say the name for like trademark purposes, whatever, but they focused on women, and now they did very good with that program. And they are the largest. Why would you advertise to people you already know are going to buy your guns? Market and advertise to the people that with the growing demographic. So that's what we did. All these ranges are focusing on these tactical Tommies or hunters and stuff like that. And it's like, focus on the young people, the women, the people that are intimidated. You got that number, Sarah? Okay.
She's working on
it.
Right. So hey, when you come to Mainline though, it's not just about shooting. It's not just about apparel. It's not just about, you sell firearms. Yes. And you also rent firearms.
Correct.
And you give instruction. And there's an entire feel to that. Talk to us a little bit about your executive club. So I believe it's the Valley Forge.
So the lounge is called the Valley Forge Lounge. Everything in Mainline Armory's Revolutionary War theme, because we're so close to Valley Forge.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of historical aspects to it, and a lot of information. It's kind of like when I give my tour, which anybody can do, by the way. Just go on our website and book a tour. It may not be with the Grand Tour Master myself, but it will be with one of my employees. I'll be glad to show you around. We go over the history of everything, and there's some memorials I'll touch on later. But the Valley Forge Lounge is where the soldiers came to recoup before they went on to finally start winning the war, right? They were getting their butts kicked up through Brandywine, Paoli, and they recouped there. Lafayette joined them there. They trained there, and then they went on to win the war. So that's where they went. Valley Forge Lounge is where my members go to relax and recoup. Okay, so it's a real relaxing environment. Huge trusses, custom built, big fireplace.
Beautiful.
Walk-in humidor.
Full
kitchenette. Yeah, kitchen, like a kitchen with complimentary drinks. Everything's first class there. Now, granted, our 2 levels of membership give you access to that. Yeah. But then you have a private bay for our VIPs. I have founding father members that are lifetime members. And it's what I wanted to do different is most ranges, you go, you shoot, and you leave. That's not an experience. It doesn't, invoke, hanging out and camaraderie and stuff like that. At my range, you'll shoot, and then you'll go hang out and smoke a cigar. And it's like the community I'm building is awesome because someone might be sitting there smoking a cigar, and you're not going to walk in and sit across the room. You're going to sit next to that guy, introduce yourself, and next thing you know, I have a lot of people that became friends that way. And now they're range buddies and they shoot all the time together. It's really cool to build that community. But it's just another level. It's like they enjoy coming to shoot. You might enjoy shooting, but now they like to come and enjoy themselves and have a cigar, talk with people, hang out and talk to my staff. So it is definitely an experience. And we do events. We do a lot of charitable events. I think I've donated venue space the past, 2 days ago was 4 days ago was my 2-year anniversary. The first 2 years, I donated approximately $150,000 venue expense for charities. I love doing veteran and law enforcement charities. But we'll have these date nights. May 4th, we have May the 4th. So Star Wars theme. We do a lot of fun things. Oh, yeah. We have a World War II night coming up, and it's essentially like there's certain ones that are ticketed, where you go in, you shoot some guns. Afterwards, we close down the range, put all the guns away. Adult beverages are available, some food and cigars. And like for the date nights, we'll have icebreakers. We force people to interact, and you get a lot of friends that way.
Yeah.
You know, and it's cool to see that community build. So it's definitely, you know, that big craze of the axe throwing that swept the nation a few years ago.
Wow. In Pennsylvania.
42 million.
42 million gun owners.
Yeah, so 5%.
Female gun owners in the United States.
Yeah, well, in PA, right?
2.5 million in PA, female.
And 44 million in PA guys?
42 million in the United States.
Okay. All right.
Huge market.
And
13 million overall gun owners.
Gotcha.
Think about if you were starting a business and you were going to target a market that had 2.5 million possible targets.
Yep.
You know, and you were going to create an experience that welcomed that entire population. You know, hats off to you.
Thank you.
And your wife for creating, you know, an experience that brought firearm safety, firearm awareness, and a place to do it in a fantastic way to that entire population. You know, I got to pivot to a separate place.
Sure.
Because for me, this was a really important part of my time at Mainline Armory. So I know both you and your wife are veterans, and you were former law enforcement. So first and foremost, thank you for your service.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
It's an honor to have you here and to be able to work with you, someone who's so dedicated to veterans. But I can't lie, when I came through your tour, and I did get the Grandpapa tour, right? There was a few times I had chills about how far you went to create an experience that memorialized people who gave us freedom. And I think it's important for our audience to learn a little bit more about the work you did to weave veteran awareness, veteran challenges, and fundraising into the strategy of Mainline Armory.
Yeah. Well, I mean, along with the history going throughout, and every time there's some history to be told about why we did something, there's a plaque. But to your point, when you come in, the most photographed item in my store, which I'm extremely proud of, is the dog tag chandelier. It's 5,261 individually named dog tags. They are all the combat KIAs from Iraq and Afghanistan, individually named with their name, their rank, branch, and date of death and where they died. I had them custom made. I pulled that off the DoD website. My son and I strung every one of them, and then my employees strung up the panels and we hung them. Hanging below there are two separate individual colored tags. One is black, painted black, and that's in memorial of anyone who died from a condition of the war, which is a lot of guys are dying from cancer from the burn pits. That's kind of like our generation's Agent Orange. And then there's the green tag, which is the mental health awareness color, in memorial of everybody who took their life because of the war. So when we opened up, we had color guards dedicate each memorial. I had a state trooper, a Marine, and an Army color guard dedicated. And, and I had a collage of all the Pennsylvania National Guardsmen that were killed. One was in my battalion when I deployed. A lot were from my unit from a previous deployment, but every PA guardsman was on this collage, and I wound up keeping it because people forget, like, we're not in war right now, and veteran nonprofits aren't doing as well because when there's no war, people, we want to support the vets, but then they pivot to other charities, and we forget about vets. By remembering who served us and who fought for our freedom, it's never letting their memory die. That's the one thing that I'll never let.
So when we think about other small business owners, there's an old quote that says, if I knew then what I know now. So when you think about other small business owners or even people who are in the firearms industry, in your specific industry, what do you want to tell them?
I would say just ask for help. Like, don't think you know everything. When we did this, again, I went to the trade association. There's a lot of stuff that I went in there with not really knowing how to do a social media presence, and I didn't have standard operating procedures. I didn't have a handbook. I mean, I'm still working on that right now, like building this handbook. But
You were working on it when I was there.
Yeah. One of my guys was in there. Well, it always evolves, but like you have to have a good base. Like go in with a plan. And I often tell people when they ask me like, how much did this cost? And like, what was it? I said, I don't think of this as a lemonade stand, where you're like, oh, I'm going to make a ton of money just by setting up on this corner on a hot day and not really think about, well, I need to hold a sign. Is it a busy street? Is it like, do your research too. Am I opening up another range? How close to the other ranges are you? Am I going to service a different person? If it's a pizza shop, is there another pizza shop that does way better that I can't compete with? Like, do your research, like follow your dream. I can tell you from someone who didn't expect to be a business owner, being an entrepreneur is contagious. Like I'm already looking to open up another location. I want to grow my business. It's addicting. It's a good stress. It is stressful, but it's a good stress because at the end of the day, it's mine. So
you couldn't be more passionate about it.
I get giddy sometimes with like the idea of some of the stuff that I want to bring out. But for those new business owners, like come up with a plan. Don't quit in the face of adversity. Like it's gonna suck that first year. It's gonna be scary. Prepare your family because there's gonna be long. Like I live at that range. Especially the first year. Prepare your family and realize like the rewards, the benefits will come. But there's going to be a lot of trials and tribulations that are going to come naturally. Just count on it.
Greg, one of the things that I think about when I think about meeting a business like yours is that you're an actual member of Citadel Credit Union, and you have taken the opportunity to be part of our family. When I think about your business, the growth, can you tell me a little bit about how Citadel's impacted Mainline Armory?
Where Citadel came in big for me was at the time, there was only certain banks that would lend to a firearm business. They weren't as developed as Citadel. So by switching to Citadel, it opened me up to mobile aspect, ACH, which the other place, it was a nightmare. And it's stuff that like you would think that a bank would have. Chris Hansen, give him a raise. He
does a pretty good job.
He told me to drop his name. No, he didn't. Chris, he's a phone call away, and I text the guy, and he helps. Like that personal touch is big to me, and I don't think that's like that with a lot of other banks. But like he set me up for savings checking, a money market. I get higher interest rate on the money that I'm sitting longer than the money market's a little bit. He set it all up, and it was pretty much painless. It just allows me to pay my bills easier. Like ACHing money is just so much easier than the other bank. And that little, it's not even, it's huge to me is that I can call him, like he might not get back to me right away, but I don't want to talk to someone who doesn't know my account and have to explain everything that's going on every time. Like Chris knows. So, you guys help. When I go to look for funding in the future, I'd imagine it's going to be the same experience, first class. But just, by not making problems for me or making my work harder made me better at what I do.
That's what we try to do, is try to be a trusted advisor here to make your life easier. Me and you could probably do this for 3 or 4 more hours. Thank you, everybody, for joining. This was a pretty profound opportunity to get to know not just Greg Butler, but Mainline Armory and the experience that's had to offer. On behalf of Citadel Credit Union, thank you for joining us today for our Open for Business podcast. Hey now.